Can you feel that? Yes, can you feel what's about to happen on this field, man? Can you feel what we about to get into, dog? And it ain't gonna be getting to ourselves. We're gonna dig into somebody else, man. So whenever you in that doggone game, whatever you gotta do to get whatever that's in you out to come out and play your behind on, let me get you. They don't respect us. They don't know what. Let's dominate this thing. Hold in on 3. 1, 2, 3, hold it.
All About the Birds welcomes you to the live pregame show.
What is going on, everybody? We are the All About the Birds pregame show live from the West End, sponsored by Manscaped, sponsored by Bud Light, and we are live in Quakertown as the Eagles are away facing the Carolina Panthers. It is a rainy Sunday morning, but we are live up in here. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
I think we're feeling pretty good. I know I am. I'm always feeling good.
I know. You're always like Mr. Confident. You picked the Eagles to beat he picked the Eagles to beat the Chiefs last week. It did not happen. But I feel like this week it's going to look a little different as far as some of our predictions go. So, Johnny, you're feeling good as usual. Jeffrey, how are you feeling? Because I know typically you have some strong emotions.
Hey, it's look, we have to look at the power of positivity real quick. We're on a 3-game losing streak, but this is the exact game the Eagles need to get back on the winning track. So hopefully that's going to be the case this Sunday.
I like it. Listen, speaking of records, look, these are two teams that are in very different spots. You have the Philadelphia Eagles with 1 win on the season. You have the Carolina Panthers with a 3-1 record. But I think the thing about it that we are a little more confident about is the fact that the Carolina Panthers haven't really beaten anybody.
Yeah, and I made that point earlier this week. You know, their 3 victories have come against the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th ranked offenses. You played a first career start, Zach Wilson and New York Jets. You played Jameis Winston and the Saints, and who really are the Saints? We really don't know after week 1 against Green Bay. And then they played the first career start of Davis Mills and the Houston Texans. So to me, the defense is still good. Their defense is talented. There's no lie about that. But again, is it almost a flawed, basically 3-1? You're playing, you do have to play who's on your schedule. I understand that. But again, you're playing the Eagles offense, who ranked, I think, 4th in the league in yards per play. So this is going to be a big test for the Eagles offense. And I think it's going to be a big test for the Carolina defense.
And you're saying that the Carolina Panthers defense is a good defense, or the Eagles are a good defense, because the Eagles have given up 40 points in 2 straight games. So which defense are you saying is better?
Well, it's obviously Carolina.
It's obviously Carolina.
Obviously, Carolina's defense is better. But, you're not playing Patrick Mahomes. You're not playing Dak Prescott in that offense.
That's true.
You're playing Sam Darnold and a reshuffled offensive line, and without Christian McCaffrey. But they still have weapons. They're still a talented team. Sam Darnold isn't a terrible quarterback, but he's not a Patrick Mahomes level or a Dak Prescott level.
And I hear you on that. However, 40 points is 40 points. Now, the thing that I am excited for this Carolina Panthers defense is how many injuries they have. So even though they're good on paper, this is a Carolina Panthers team that is beat up.
I'm done with talking about injuries. I've done the last 2 weeks in terms of Dallas defense and in the Kansas City defense. Yes, they're beat up, but there's still NFL players that are going to be playing, because every time I mention that, this guy's beat up and they have this player's coming in and this player's coming in, and it seems to not really.
That's true. So if you could stop talking about it, that'd be great. Jeff, there's a lot of injuries on the Carolina Panthers defense. Anything you want to share with the people?
Look, injuries are injuries. It's part of the game. But look, the Eagles have to go out there. The Eagles are banged up too. You look at that offensive line. We're now we get Mailata back, but he's moving from the left side to the right side. They're having Andre Dillard at left tackle. Yeah, they have Kelsey in there, but the difference between the past defenses that we've been going up against is smart for the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. He loves to blitz. So the Eagles are going to have to do their jobs to pick up these blitz packages, give Jalen Hurts time, because he has shown this year when he's under duress and has pressure in his face, he makes erratic decisions. He's underthrowing balls. He rushes his throws. He's throwing in double coverage. So the game plan is out there to try to beat Jalen Hurts, and it's Nick Sirianni's job to try to design a game plan to benefit his quarterback and benefit this Eagles offense, like running the freaking football with Miles Sanders.
Running the football. So I want to get into that for a second, because it is a day where there has been a game in London. So there's already been NFL football today. And you look at a guy like Zach Wilson, who, let's call it like it is not ready to play at the NFL level. He has looked downright bad in his first couple starts, with the exception of the one where he beat the Titans. And the knock on him has been he can throw the ball in those dangerous situations, but he can't seem to throw the ball in those smart, just check down situations. Now, my concern is you look at the Jets and they run the ball a lot. They help out their young quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a young quarterback. What, Johnny, is the reason why Nick Sirianni is against running the football?
I can't answer why he's against running football. You'd want to run the football with guys like Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. You have talent back there to be able to run the ball. And plus you have an offensive line who is a little bit beaten up, that you want them to be attacking the defensive line, not, stepping back and having to do pass blocking, which, we know run block is a little bit easier than pass blocking in terms of the offensive line being able to explode on the defensive linemen. But, if you look at last week, they didn't punt the ball. They were able to get down the field.
That's a good point.
But the problem was they got in the red zone. It just fizzled. And you're not going to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs if you can't score in the red zone. But if they can do something like that against Carolina, yeah, maybe enough. But I just think that they have to help out Jalen Hurts, because if you can run the ball and you run the ball successfully, it's going to make this offense so much more dynamic, because you get that factor of being able to do play action, getting linebackers to come up, opening the middle of that field for your tight ends in Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, and then your receivers in Watkins, Rager, and Smith. So I just think that they have to implement the run game, especially when you have the type of running backs that they have that are talented.
Right. And I want to say it was the offensive coordinator or the head coach of the Chargers spoke this week on why running the football is important. I'm not sure which one it was, but he basically said, look, it makes the defense you're going against, when you run the football, even if you're not successful with it, it makes them forced to be physical. Right? It's not just playing back and waiting for throws, Jalen Hurts was never going to be a 50 throws per game guy. And now this is 2 straight weeks where he is pushing that number. Do you agree that running the football opens up a whole other slew of offensive opportunities?
Absolutely. Look, if you're not running the football, you're not keeping the defense honest, and you basically turn your offense one-dimensional, especially from an opposing defensive standpoint. They don't have to bring up guys in the box. They don't have to try to fear block in the run. They go out there, and if they know you're going to pass it, they're just going to play back in coverage,
right,
which is what we've seen the last couple of weeks. We have seen them just play back. They're telling the Eagles, beat me with Jalen Hurts' arm. Granted, he has that mobility factor where he's been bursting off for some big runs, picking up first downs, moving the ball that way. But the Eagles are finding ways to move the football effectively, which is great. It's now figuring out that red zone efficiency. Last week, 2 of 5 or 2 of 6 in the red zone?
It's not enough.
It's not enough. And you're not going to beat these teams, these NFL's quality teams, by kicking field goals, as you've seen the last 2 weeks against the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. This week, the Carolina Panthers are playing well. Sam Darnold, he looks rejuvenated. He looks like a different Sam Darnold from what he played with the New York Jets. He actually leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns. So he brings that mobility factor. Hey, it's a stat. Who would think?
No, you're absolutely right, and I think it's really interesting that you mentioned that, and comparing it to the Zach Wilson comparison at all, because Zach Wilson is struggling in New York, and Darnold has escaped New York. I feel like that was a movie at some point, Escape from New York.
Yeah,
and he is now living it and having success with the Carolina team. But again, they haven't really beaten anybody yet. So this is going to be a real good test for this Eagles team. And going into next week, when the Eagles go against the Super Bowl champions
on a short week,
I have to ask, gentlemen, is this a must-win game? Johnny, I'll start with you.
I think this is the most winnable game if you look at the next couple weeks. And I think Carolina is a team that you can beat. So I think this is, if you want to say must win, you'd like to be 2-3 after today. Get your bearings, because you look at the NFC. The NFC really isn't. I understand there's some really good teams in the NFC West and everything, but this is a game that you can steal and you can get. If you look the next couple of weeks, it's going to be very tough before you play Detroit. So I think this is the most winnable game out of the next 3. I feel like you have to be able to get this W today.
Yeah, I mean, look, the game next week on a short week on a Thursday night in prime time against the Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady coming to Philadelphia. I'm ready to chalk next week up to a loss early because, again, it's just two different tiers of football teams.
You're giving up hope too early, Chip.
I am.
Exactly.
I am, because what have the Eagles put on paper outside of beating the Atlanta Falcons? Outside of beating the Atlanta Falcons, what have the Eagles put on paper to make you say this team has improved? Now, again, they went, I want to say, toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs, but they didn't. I don't.
The fourth quarter.
Up until the fourth quarter. I mean, look, the Eagles were definitely mismatched just talent-wise last week. But, this is a winnable game, and in order to find success as a young coaching staff, as a young football team, you have to start building confidence, and the only way to do that is to win football games.
I think the one positive last week was Greg Ward caught a second touchdown, which means
in garbage time.
I don't care. It still
not
counts.
only in garbage time. Jeff and I were already on the post-game show, and we had to update the score. That's how much of a garbage time. Somebody had to tell me that the score we had was wrong.
He still has more touchdowns than Rager.
That's a different conversation that we're about to have. Jeff, same question for you. Is this a must-win game? And I'm using that term really expressively because this team isn't supposed to do much this year.
And that's the thing. It depends on your expectations. If you expected this team to make the playoffs in some form or fashion, absolutely this is a must-win football game, especially within your division. We expected this NFC East to be somewhat mediocre at best. Look, we had a winning team last year with a losing record win the division. So this year, the Dallas Cowboys have shown with Dak Prescott at quarterback that they are the best in this division. They're starting to pull away, especially against a horrible New York Giants team. They have a chance to go 4-1 through 5 weeks of the year, which not a lot. We already lost to them once. Mm-hmm. So, and like you guys brought up before, you lose this week, you can now go to 1-4. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week. You go on the road to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. You have a possibility to look at being 1-6 through the first half stretch of games, which. Look, you're not coming back from that. No matter how bad the NFC is, you're losing tiebreakers. You're going to lose the head-to-head matchup tiebreakers and all that type of fashion. Yeah, you're going to be going up against the New York Giants and the Washington football team down the later part of the year against your own division. But look, you have to beat teams you're supposed to beat. And Carolina Panthers, they're not a juggernaut. This is a team that the Eagles can easily have a chance to win if they play a flawless football game. That's the one thing that the Eagles have not done through the first stretch of the season is the amount of mistakes and penalties that this team has had. They lead the league in penalties.
Well, yeah.
And I think they're the only team in history to have 11-plus penalties through the first 4 games in NFL history or something along those lines.
And thinking about the penalties, look, I know this is very cliche, but we've said this before. Good teams find the way to win football games. Bad teams find the way to lose football games. Having those penalties over and over again, leading the lead, that's something that you can clean up. That's got to fall on the coaching staff. And I know, Johnny, you want to touch on this. There was some behind-the-scenes drama this week in the coaches' room. Do you want to talk on that?
So, yeah, there's Nick Sirianni, I guess, kind of riled on or ramped on, got a little angry.
He called out Jonathan Gannon.
Wait, I should have gone to him for that.
The thing is, he should have called him out.
He should have. There's 80 points in 2 weeks is a reason to go against somebody.
Exactly. And I just think that you see a third. I know there was one picture. It was two deep safety, 3rd and 1.
Uh-huh.
The safeties are playing 15 yards off. Like,
why?
I understand you have a scheme. And it puts to this question. Do you miss Jim Schwartz yet? Because
no. But I will tell you what I've noticed. And again, I've used this phrase before, and we're not sponsored by this company, so I'm just going to drop this in there and then move away. But we have seemed to have gotten the Walmart brand coaching staff of the coaches that we already had. So we got a Doug Peterson, Walmart knockoff version of Sirianni, who now runs the ball less and passes the ball more and makes less adjustments. We've gotten the knockoff version of Jim Schwartz. And Jonathan Gannon, these guys aren't better yet. Now, maybe they're younger. Maybe they're more innovative. We don't know. But these coaches right now are not as good as the coaches we got rid of.
I don't really
disagree away then.
I disagree with that because
I'm waiting over here to go because I know he agrees with me. Go ahead. Go.
I disagree because you look at last year. this offense is a lot better than last year's offense. And you can't tell me that it's not. Come on. You got to be at least.
I think skill-wise, they have the ability to be, and they're just naturally more talented than the group that we trotted out last year. I mean, think about it. We were trotting out rookies with no training camp.
They had 30 first downs last week.
Which is amazing, but how many penalties, how many passes, how much ignoring of the run game? Miles Sanders has touched the ball on a carry 10 times in total of 2 weeks.
But again, you're only going off of 4 games. The guy's only been the coach 4 games.
You're right. I'm absolutely jumping to conclusions.
But we saw Doug Peterson for 4 seasons, and he helped us deliver us a Super Bowl. Yeah, you might have to give some credit to Frank Wright, but he was ultimately the guy at the helm. He was the guy in charge, and he's the one that helped us deliver us our only Super Bowl championship.
Absolutely. And so I think that's my point is that, look, considering that the talent is an upgrade, considering there is an upgrade of talent, Devontae Smith is an upgraded talent, a healthy Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, a healthy Miles Sanders. I think all of those improvements should lead to more first downs, should lead to more points. And we're not necessarily seeing them because of coaching. Yeah. We're seeing them because of just natural talent.
Yeah, but I like what I'm seeing with Sirianni in the offense.
And I wish I did. I guess I am such a fan of the run game because I know what it opens up, that I know that Sirianni is putting things in play that are actually eventually down the line hurting this team. Look, we saw what happens with a Dak Prescott who threw the ball 50 times consistently for a couple of seasons. He had shoulder problems this offseason. Are we in the same boat with Jalen Hurts coming up if we continue to pass the ball 50 times a game?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Just for the fact that Dak has had that injury before where Jalen Hurts hasn't. So, right. But look, I get what Johnny's trying to say. Look, Sirianni has brought a different feel to this offense. That week 1 game against the Atlanta Falcons, granted, it was a horrible defense. You saw him utilize our strengths with our offense. You saw him utilize that speed with the weapons that we have. And the last couple of seasons, we haven't seen that from Doug, but the thing is, was it Doug or was it more management pushing down Doug's throat to do what they wanted? They wanted to score points. They wanted to show that they were high-flying, high-powered offense in the NFL, which they have not been able to do because they don't have the quality players at his arsenal to do that, which now with Devontae Smith this year, we have the ability to build something with this offense.
Well, speaking of Devontae Smith, if you do not so Devontae Smith was watching the Alabama game last night, and he tweeted out, "Run the damn ball." If you do not think that tweet is going to get overused today, you're out of your mind. It's going to hit retweets in the millions because of what the Eagles will not do. So we do have inactives. The inactives list has come out for the Eagles. There's not a lot of surprises. Gardner Minshew is inactive. Again, he's a 3rd-string quarterback, so that doesn't surprise me. Mac McCain, Johnny, anything about Mac McCain that would be surprising that he's not suited? Okay.
No, he's learning the defense. They picked him up for the season. He's basically a body on there to learn the defense.
Jack Anderson, again, another player who is just depth. Marlon Tuipulotu. Good job practicing that.
Can't pronounce that.
But the big inactive for the Philadelphia Eagles for another week is Lane Johnson, which means there is some
shuffling of the offensive line.
Every day we're shuffling. So I feel so going left to right. What is the expectation here for the starting line of the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think the expectation is going to be Dillard at left tackle. You have Dickerson at left guard. You have Kelsey, of course, at center. And right guard, you have Jack Driscoll, which my opinion would be Jack Driscoll. And then at right tackle is Jordan Mailata. Now, I know Mike's not with us today. He had some feelings on... I'll find it here. He had some feelings on the offensive line.
Did he text them angrily to you?
No, he put it in the doc sheet. So, Mailata will play today. Will he be right tackle? And this is his opinion. So I understand you paid him to be your starting left tackle, Charles.
That's me. He's coming to me. Charles. Go ahead.
But you paid him to be a football player, period. Starting lineup and the offensive line should be, as I just stated, the five guys across the board. So I understand his sentiment there, what he's talking about and why he's stating that Mailata, basically you want your best 5 out there. So I understand you paid him to be your left tackle. But again, if you can have a solid offensive line, because Dillard has not looked terrible in 2 games.
He has not. Dillard has not looked bad. However, when you've put Jordan Mailata at right tackle, when you put Andre Dillard at right tackle, both of them have struggled.
Right tackle.
I think the reasoning behind that is the times that Andre Dillard has been put at right tackle.
Exactly.
He got on him. He got destroyed. That Seattle game,
2018. Remember that game?
Yeah.
It was a Winston Justice situation all
Yeah.
over again. We're just getting abused.
So
abused.
and I think with Mailata's, with his ability to play both sides, that's why they're going with the decision to put him at right tackle rather than left tackle. So you rather have an equal balance on both sides rather than one dominant side and a guy that's going to get destroyed.
But you could run the ball. So this is my concern, is that you have all of this shuffling along the offensive line. You've got guys who were, yes, maybe cross-trained over the offseason, but it's not their natural position. What's the one thing that's natural to all offensive linemen? Running the ball and power blocking. And if the Eagles do not do that today, if the Eagles put out the same kind of numbers against the Carolina Panthers team with a significant amount of injuries, Johnny, talk about the injuries. So the official inactives for the Carolina Panthers this week is as follows. A huge help to the Philadelphia Eagles is Christian McCaffrey is not playing. There was some touch and go-ness of it all because basically he was chomping at the bit to go against this Eagles defense.
I don't think they want to risk him getting hurt and being out longer because that's happened before with him. So be better safe than sorry for them. Now, Shaq Thompson, which, Al Wallace on our show on Wednesday night stated that he was going to be out. Which is their star middle linebacker.
So that's a help.
Very. Looks like Julian Stanford will be the
Sure, I know exactly who that is.
So also you have Cam Irving, who is the starting left tackle for the Carolina Panthers. So which means their shuffling is going to be Taylor Moton is going to go from right tackle to left tackle, and then the rookie Brady Christensen from BYU is going to be their starting right tackle. So they have a little bit of shuffling, and Al talked about their offensive line with the offensive line issues, and especially the interior wise that offensive line, and where the Eagles strong is the interior of the defensive line with Hargrave and with Cox. So the offensive line is going to be the offensive and defensive lines of both teams are going to be big time factors in this game.
And I hear you on that, and I am excited to see the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles defense do what they do. But we need certain amount of ability and show up from certain players on the defensive line who haven't done anything. Is that what the comment just came in?
So Xavier Maddox chiming in on our Facebook page saying Fletcher Cox get some sacks today.
I'm worried about Fletcher Cox. I'm worried about Ryan Kerrigan just even getting a statistic. I don't care if
I'm worried about Derek Barnett not committing
not getting penalties. I mean, look, the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles is the defensive line because we know it's not the linebackers. We know it's not the secondary. The defensive line has got to do something. They've got to make Sam Darnold feel uncomfortable, especially against an injured offensive line of the Carolina Panthers.
I think my worry is Carolina's basically their weak point of their defense right now is their secondary.
So we're going to throw the ball 60 times today,
probably.
And that's to me that's a little bit of a worry there because Al on our pregame show or preview show on Wednesday talked about Jeremy Chin.
Okay,
and how Jeremy Chin is playing more deep safety, playing more the safety position, and not playing down in the box like he did last year. And if that's the case, for him, he's more better down. He's a lot better down in the box playing that. Which, again, I don't know what they're going to do without Shaq Thompson. They're going to move him down, but I feel with the weak point being that I have a bad feeling that they're going to be doing a lot of throwing the ball. And I know that's not.
So they're going to do consistently what they've done for 4 straight weeks.
Which I'm not sure if that's real smart because
it's not.
Because the defensive line for Carolina is a whole hell of a lot better than the Kansas City defensive line of what you played last.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's another point where I would say run the ball. But again, when they see all these injuries on the defensive backfield for Carolina, and Carolina is not going to have Stephon Gilmore until after week 6, so he's not going to be in uniform today.
Everything has been breaking the Eagles' way for this game, provided they game plan the correct way. And one thing we heard, and we discussed it last week, was the idea that Jonathan Gannon flat out said, we do not play a dime package. So that's basically a refusal to adapt. That's saying that what we do is what we do, regardless of what we see.
Or he's sending a message to management that we don't have the personnel to play a dime package.
You think that's more of what it is?
It could be. I'll say you haven't seen much Zach McPherson out on that football field. Yeah. You haven't seen much of some of these depth pieces that we have in our secondary out there. So either they feel that they can't go out there and play, or like you said, they're just being stubborn.
The other issue is when you have a guy like Tyreek Hill being lined up
against a linebacker.
with a linebacker, Eric Wilson. That's a big problem because you also have a guy, Davion Taylor, who is fast, who is quick. Why not have him out on the field? If you're not going to play dime, you need to be able to put some pieces out there that are going to be able to go because what teams are going to do is they're going to make sure that their mismatches, they're going to put 4 or 5 out wide. And what are you going to do? You're going to put a linebacker out on a wide receiver. So there's a lot of things that with what he said in his press conference, we're not a dime team.
Right.
That puts a lot into the heads of opposing offensive coordinators and what they can do to your defense.
Yep. So, again, we are the All About the Birds weekly report on the AAT Sports Network. We are live at the West End as we are for every single away game. Again, if you are in the building, don't forget to get your raffle tickets. We are giving away a Devontae Smith jersey right after we go off the air. We're also giving away we are sponsored, not Devontae Smith, excuse me, a Jalen Hurts jersey. I can read numbers. They keep changing numbers on me. A Jalen Hurts jersey. And we are also sponsored by Manscaped. So we are giving away a Manscaped Performance Package 2.0. I'm not going to read the slogan. There are children in the room. We also have some... You can read it. You can read the slogan over here. Yeah, earmuff your kids. So we also have Don Conaway from Drunk on Broad. He's hanging out over there. You can't see him on camera, but we do have Drunk on Broad in the house. We got great comments coming in. Mike Bauer, who is usually with us, would do his fantasy minute here. I'm going to take a couple of things that I know, having not played fantasy in multiple years.
So what you're saying is do not listen to your advice because it's going to be wrong?
No, because I'm listening to a lot of Mike's stuff.
Okay,
so number one, Dalvin Cook is officially inactive today. So if you haven't taken Dalvin Cook off of your fantasy lineup, get him out of there. Because he's not playing. He will get you 0 points. Julio Jones, not playing today. Get him out of your lineup. Christian McCaffrey, not playing today. Get him out of your lineup. These are easy things to figure out. Moving forward, Russell Wilson, not be playing.
6 to 8 weeks, he is out.
Get him out of your lineup. He's got mallet thumb, which is just great. He got hammered that hard that his hand literally turned into a mallet.
Some spit all over myself. That was a good one.
I went against. Thanks, I nailed it. Yeah. Going against Mike's advice, I continued to play Kyle Pitts, but he went against the New York Jets and he had a huge game.
He had a touchdown.
He had a huge game. So that's exciting.
The Jets, he should have had a huge game.
That's why I played him. Plus, I didn't have any other tight ends. They also are suggesting, and I know Mike has said this, is sitting Miles Sanders. Sitting Miles Sanders because
Kenny Gainwell's getting a lot.
Because we don't run the ball until there is a shift in what we do. Not dropping him, but definitely not playing him. However, if you have Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert because Shaq Thompson is out, that seems like a pretty safe bet. Playing them because the middle of their field is weakened.
So, with that, I want to bring up a tweet that I just saw.
Hey, here we go.
Jordan Mailata is at right tackle, Jack Driscoll at right guard, and Andre Dillard at left tackle in pregame warmup. So
there
it looks
we go.
like that is going to be the offensive line.
Again, going left to right. Andre Dillard at the left tackle. Left guard is Landon Dickerson, as it should be for the remainder of the season with Isaac Salomalo out. The one constant is Jason Kelsey. He will play the center. Right guard is Jack Driscoll, who is the man of many positions. And right tackle will be Jordan Mailata. So it'll be good to have the big guy back. The question is, can he do the job? We are always concerned about that. But yeah, so they're not playing Miles Sanders because running the ball, it seems like it's just not something that they are willing to do.
Watch this week when you take him out of your lineup. He's going to have 30 rushes or 30 touches this game, go off for like 200 yards.
But again, all you can do is go with the trends. Yep. All you can do is go with the trends. So those are some fantasy moves that I think personally, again, not Bauer related, but that's what I'm going to go with. Any fantasy moves that you think across the NFL that you need to watch out for, and then Jeff, I'll come to you with the same question.
No, I didn't do any preparation for fantasy.
No preparation for fantasy.
I'm not going to give any fantasy advice that people are going to wind up losing.
Well, you know what? Mine are common sense. Mine are don't play people that are injured.
How about this one? Play Jalen Hurts because I put him in my lineup.
Play Jalen Hurts. We got shout out to the Perg Valley Connie Mack team rolling up in here. That's right. I can read and I can see logos. What's going on, gentlemen? How you doing? Make sure you get a raffle ticket. We're giving away a Jalen Hurts jersey. And also something that I'm not going to talk about because you're children. All right.
They may not be able to use it.
They might be able to use it. I don't know. So we're about a half hour away from kickoff. So the Eagles didn't make a move for any of the big name players out there this week. Stephon Gilmore, And who was the other guy that was available that was
Jalen Smith.
And
Jalen Smith from the Cowboys.
Jalen Smith from the Cowboys. Jeff, likes, dislikes, were we in a position to go get them? Talk to me here.
I'm not totally surprised that they didn't go out make a move out after them. I know they had interest in Jalen Smith coming out of the draft when he was drafted. So there was probably some interest there, but we have to think the long term with this team and with this defense. Because look, I understand the defense is playing bad and everyone's up in outrage, but look at the long term. Most of this, we're going to have a huge overhaul this offseason when it comes to this defense. Anthony Harris is only on a 1-year deal. Wilson's only on a 1-year deal. Derek Barnett's on his final year of contract. Fletcher Cox, they might be able to move, but I would say with that contract, they might not be able to. But there's going to be a giant overhaul this offseason where they're going to be addressing the defense side of the football. And that's why they're trying to figure out what they have with Jalen Hurts. The word around the street is that they are looking to build around him, that they might have seen enough of him, because now they probably going to have 3 high first-round selections that they're going to have to be able to address, revamp that offensive line, and revamp and retool that defense, because they have a lot of holes along the front 4, the linebacking position, the secondary. So and
this draft is deep in defense. So
yeah,
it's definitely a perfect scenario.
And that's the thing. Everyone's like, well, if Jalen Hurts sucks, draft a quarterback. The quarterback class ain't looking that great like right now.
No.
One of the top quarterbacks yesterday
Spencer
for Oklahoma,
Rattler.
for Oklahoma, got benched.
Yep.
For a freshman.
Yeah.
Who didn't even play his senior. Yeah, Spencer Rattler, who I'm sure Eagles fans will start clamoring for around week, 8, got benched yesterday for a freshman who didn't even play his senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, and the way I saw something and I thought it made perfect sense, but somebody was talking about Jalen Hurts. Why not let him play out his rookie contract? And then if you see enough that he's your guy, then okay, you do what you can, but you're still building around him for the next couple of years. And if he's not your guy, then you draft the quarterback. To draft the quarterback now, to then what if you draft the quarterback that's the wrong quarterback, and then you're basically you're fumbling over trying to draft the right quarterback for years.
And remember, Sirianni was brought in with Jalen Hurts already at his quarterback. So, yeah, they might go this year and next year with Jalen Hurts. After that, if Sirianni wants to keep his job or Howie wants to keep his job, that's when they're going to probably address the quarterback position. Because, Sirianni might be able to work around Jalen Hurts' weaknesses and strengths. But ultimately, we don't know if he was his guy, if he wanted him on the roster. We knew going into this season that Carson Wentz was out of town because he lost all confidence with this front office.
Sure. Yeah, he absolutely did. And again, I think the one thing that you just mentioned about if you draft the wrong guy, you set yourselves back for years.
Yep.
Right? So I'm pretty convinced after just watching basics that Zach Wilson is going to set the New York Jets back years because he is not a good NFL quarterback. I think he was overdrafted. He cannot make the easy, simple throws. But you look at a guy like Sam Darnold who did have all the tools even coming out of Even coming out of USC, he had all the tools. He just had a bad situation. So I'm not ready to pull the rug out from Jalen Hurts yet.
No.
However, they have to build around this guy, which is what they're starting to do.
But my thing is, if you haven't seen progression in Jalen Hurts' game,
correct,
the first 4 weeks of the year to what it was last year, then you're blind because you're not seeing that he is progressing as a quarterback. And to just say give up at him after 4 weeks, I think is the biggest. To me, it's I just think that people just get so way overboard because look at all these rookie quarterbacks. Yes, they have.
Not one has been impressive. Not one rookie quarterback has been impressive this year.
Nope, because they're in dumpster fires.
All of them.
We'll see with Trey Lance if he starts.
Trey Lance and maybe Justin Fields are probably the best, and Mac Jones.
But again,
Trevor Lawrence,
exactly.
And who's the other one?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson for the Jets.
Mac Jones.
I think they can build around. I would say Bill Belichick at coach. They can do some things with him. It's going to take some time for Mac.
You let Jalen Hurts grow with this team, and that's why you give him the whole season. Let's see what he is. If you build around him, you put the right pieces around him.
But the biggest thing that as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, we said before the season even started is, look, we know that this is a 4-win team. That's what it is. So for us to come out and say, well, why are we not competing for the NFC East? Because we're a 4-win team, and Dallas has all the pieces. Now, they may not have all the defensive pieces yet, but their offense is loaded. The Dallas Cowboys are in that secondary tier of NFC teams.
And they're building some confidence in that defense. Trayvon Diggs is looking like the best cornerback in football right now. So they definitely have some pieces on that defense that they can make some plays, and it can make their offense makes up for the weaknesses on the defense side of the football, that they can be a contender.
So I think the thing that we had to temper expectations. It didn't help that the Philadelphia Eagles put an absolute stomping on the Atlanta Falcons in week 1. We all started smelling Broad Street again, because that's, as Philadelphia Eagles fans, what we do. When the goal this whole season was just to get better from week 1 to the end of the season. And so far, the Philadelphia Eagles have not done that. The Eagles have not improved as the season has gone on. They're playing again to the level of their opponent, but they're also playing to the skill level. So this is a good test. The Carolina Panthers are not a good football team. They have injuries. They have key players not playing. If the Philadelphia Eagles go out and put a dud up, you are going to hear a lot of talk this week about who should get fired or who should get benched. And Johnny, I know you have some feelings about pulling the rug out from players and coaches too soon.
Yeah, you don't pull the rug out of players too soon. You can't do that, because any rookie head coach, Eagles have had rookie head coaches. A guy like Andy Reid in '99, he struggled. His first season, that team was awful. It was bad. And, you have to grow. The team has to grow with the coach. You need to, progressively get a little bit better. And, of course, this game is going to show you a lot, because you're playing a team that you can beat. It's, they're 3-1, but like we stated earlier, they played against 3 of the worst offenses to start the season. So for me, I think Jalen Hurts and this offense, they're going to rebound. And I think that, this is a good test against, still a good defense in Carolina, but a little bit of a beat up defense.
So I have to bring this up, because one thing that's gotten a little too much press already is Nick Sirianni's in memoriam visor, right? So Nick Sirianni, for those of you that don't know, adds player numbers to his visor of players that have been knocked out for the entire season.
Yep.
There's the 55 for Brandon Graham. Whatever number Isaac Salamalu is wearing this season 56. Is on there. 56. Apparently, and I don't know the truth behind this because it's based off of Twitter, Lane Johnson's number 65 has made the in memoriam visor.
Oh, snap.
Again, that is only for players who are out for the entire season. If Lane Johnson cannot play for the rest of the season, what does that do for expectations for the rest of the season?
For me, I just want Lane Johnson to be okay, physically and everything like that. Football is just a game. But in terms of your personal health and your personal mental health and all that, that's what matters the most. So hopefully everything is okay there. Hopefully it gets better, everything like that. If you lose him, then this may be the starting offensive line that you see for the rest of the year, barring any injuries. But, of course, we've seen injuries the first 4 weeks of the season. So it's gonna be tough, because Lane Johnson is a veteran. He's one of the best tackles in the league. So it is tough. But I don't know with that if Lane Johnson's.
We don't know if his season is over. Again, we're totally speculating here. We do not have the insider information. But again, the only players that are on there are players who are out for the season. So the concern would be that Lane Johnson's season is over. Jeff, any thoughts on the in memoriam visor?
Like Johnny said, hopefully everything's okay with Lane Johnson. We don't know what the issue is. The Eagles haven't addressed or release any information, because it is a personal matter. He is a human being. So look, human being comes first, football comes second. Yeah, it's his job, but hopefully everything's okay with Lane, whatever he is dealing with. The only thing is, I understand he just signed a new contract, but after the season, do you think it's a possibility that they might have to move on from Lane? Look, he hasn't been too reliable the last few seasons. He's been banged up with injuries. He's had the PED issues. I think one more hit, and he's gone for a whole season. So, and he's getting up there in age.
Only worry, that may be the issue.
He's 31 years old right now. Going into next year, be 32 for a right tackle. Yeah, these guys. These are big guys. There's a lot of wear and tear on their bodies.
Right, exactly.
And you're a team that's looking to build for the future and build build this team, and you're looking about revamping the offensive line, he might be one of your only like decent trade pieces you might be able to get something for if you're going to move on from him. So with him and Kelsey possibly on the way out, who knows?
So, speaking quickly with Lane Johnson, if you use the post June 1st either cap hit on him, you'll save $14 million and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a possibility. But again, we just hope everything's okay with him.
Absolutely.
And, everything is okay in that aspect and everything gets better. But it's if he's no longer able to be helping you on the field,
right.
I just hope that he gets the help off the field.
Absolutely.
To be able to,
yep. And that, by the way, is confirmed. His number has made the visor.
That's not good.
There is a picture, picture evidence.
There is picture proof on Connor Miles' Twitter page that there are now 3 numbers. And again, that's only for players who are out for the entire season. So, like, for example, Brandon Brooks, who is not out for the entire season, is not on this visor. He's going to end up, if this is the way it keeps up, Nick Sirianni is going to end up looking like the scene in Office Space where, he needs more flair. He's going to need a T-shirt. He's going to need the lanyard because the Eagles are the Philadelphia Injureds. The Eagles with the wings clip. So big predictions for the game. Then we'll go score predictions and we will wrap it up so we can watch some Philadelphia Eagles against Carolina Panthers. So Jeff, start with you. What is your big prediction? And I do believe you have to make a Uleka lock as you were not on our Wednesday night show.
Fine, I'll go with Uleka lock. It's probably going to be wrong, but I have Miles Sanders having 20 touches today.
20 touches for Miles Sanders. All right, you can already mark that being wrong.
Yeah,
wait, 20 touches?
Yeah.
Or carries?
Touches. So
he has to physically touch the ball.
Yes.
So you think over the course of the week that they've installed a Wildcat offense where Miles Sanders is going to touch the ball?
Well, I'm saying you're going to develop the screen game. Sirianni loves the short intermediate passing routes to get Jalen Hurts to release the ball quickly. So I feel they realize that Miles Sanders hasn't been a focal point in this offense through the first 4 weeks, and they need to do something to change that.
He's their best offensive player.
Absolutely.
He's their best offensive player.
Until Devontae Smith develops. I think with Devontae Smith, he's going to be a stud once he develops further throughout his career. But right now, Miles Sanders should be your workhorse.
Right, and I tend to agree. The concern with Devontae Smith is already the overusage and the over-targeting of him.
Yeah.
You've seen flat out that they are – Jalen Hurts has one read.
Well, that because Jalen Hurts has worked with him in college. They already have that chemistry. They're like best friends. So,
sure.
Of course, they're going to it's basically like a pickup game for guys when you were younger. You always wanted to throw to your best friend, or you always had that connection with the guys that you played with in backyard football. So sure. I think it's one of those things.
Johnny, what was my Uleka lock? I forget what I said to you the other day. Did you write it down?
I wrote it down, but it's at home.
Lovely. So I made a Uleka lock. We'll have to share. I was pretty sure I was going to be 100% right. Do you remember your Uleka lock?
I don't remember mine.
All right. So basically the Uleka lock segment is we make predictions that are guaranteed to happen. I think, Conaway's, I remember Don Conaway's was Robbie Anderson, 100-plus yards and a touchdown lock. The raffle is for this and for that, and they are giving out the tickets at the bar, so just make sure that you grab some raffle tickets because, you can still get a raffle ticket, don't worry. You're going to see her over at the bar, and we're going to pick it right after we go off of the air. So don't go far. All right, so big Eagles-Panthers predictions. Not a score, but a prediction. What do you got?
Prediction or like X?
Give me what you think is going to happen without saying a final score and a victory.
I feel we're going to see a better performance from the Eagles offense. I feel this is the matchup that they somewhat get back on track and they fix the red zone woes. Like we brought up before, the amount of injuries they had, the weakness in the secondary. The Eagles have shown that they've been able to move the football between the 20s and find ways to they have potential for points. It's just being able to punch it into the end zone for 6. Because as we know in this league,
right,
you cannot win football games kicking field goals, and they need to find ways to punch it in for the end zone. And I feel they somewhat figure out those woes this week.
Sure, exactly. And I think, for mine, before I turn it over to you, I think mine is you're going to see for the first 2 offensive drives, you're going to see a more balanced attack because those are the drives that you're allowed to script and then flow of the game dictates otherwise. So for the first 2 drives, you'll see a slightly more balanced offensive attack between running and passing the ball. And then after that, it will go back to 90-10 on the percentages. 90% pass, 10% run. That's my prediction.
So my prediction is I think the defense is going to play a lot better. I think they're going to have a few sacks. I think they will turn the ball over, Sam Darnold. But two little nuggets I want to bring up.
Oh, well, some nuggets. I like that. Some nuggets.
The receptions leadership, Eagles all time. Zach Ertz is only 16 away from breaking Harold Carmichael's record. So that's something to watch for this season. And the other thing was that I thought that was pretty interesting was that Jalen Hurts has thrown for 300-plus yards and 2+ touchdowns each of the last 2 games. The last quarterback to do that was Donovan McNabb in 2005, where he did it in 3 straight contests.
You like to draw comparisons.
I do.
You like to draw comparisons. You're comparing Andy Reid to Nick Sirianni based simply on numbers.
Which you can't do.
Different
era of football and different teams. Andy Reid's teams, when he came in here, were pretty much already built. As we brought up previously before.
So you're telling me Ray Rhodes built his teams?
I will not say that. No, I will not say that. I will definitely not say that.
Not built, but you had Bobby Taylor. You had Troy Vincent. You had Jeremiah Trotter. You had Brian Dawkins. You had already all these guys in place. The one thing the Eagles were missing was a quarterback, and Andy Reid was to find a way to pick the best quarterback in that draft. We would be talking about Dante Culpepper or Achilles Smith or
Cade McNown.
Cade McNown. Achilles Smith. That's another name from the
past.
So
I'm not saying Andy Reid didn't have a part in it. I'm just saying that team was a little bit more built compared to the team that Nick Sirianni is taking over. We are an aging, pathetic football team that is a dumpster fire right now.
Wow. It only took until week 5 for Jeff to go with the dumpster fire analogy. Wow. Woo. I had it at week 4, so I guess I bet the wrong way.
Let's go with the predictions. Got to get these predictions. We got to try to hopefully end on a higher note.
For Jeff, that may require him to sing in a falsetto. So the Philadelphia Eagles are going against the Carolina Panthers in about 17 minutes. We've talked about the injuries. We've talked about the play calling. We've talked about Gannon and whether or not he can actually stop anything. We're talked about, the passing game versus the run. We've talked about it all. So now the question comes in because they are going to play a game. Who is going to win? Give me a score. Give me a reason. We will start with happy-go-lucky Mr. Johnny Uleka.
So the way I look at this is, yes, I know that Carolina is pretty beat up. And I mentioned about, the defense playing against some pretty bad offenses. But I just think the Eagles, they get themselves back on the right foot.
Okay.
So I think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense have a good game.
Okay.
I do think they run the ball a lot more than they have the previous 2 games, which isn't really saying much because they haven't ran it at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's saying absolutely nothing. It's saying, I'm going to get the same amount of carries as Miles Sanders.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the defense steps up. I think the defense plays a lot better than it has the last 2 weeks. And I feel like that's going to be, a big precursor of how this game ends. And I think the Eagles win 24-20.
Wow. Eagles victory. And this is, again, I was going to say this is the first time you picked the Eagles, but you pick the Eagles every week. You are the eternal optimist. You literally think that
you would have them going 17-0 at this point.
That's actually the record.
Actually, I wouldn't have them go 17-0. But again, I don't like picking against my team.
I don't either. But we do a job here as podcasters where we got to stay. We got to stay honest. So again, you have the Eagles winning by 4 points,
24-20.
And I do believe the line is what?
The 2.5.
The line is 2.5. So they're also going to beat the line. The line is 3.
3?
The line is 3. The over-under is 46 for all my gambling junkies out there. Xavier down in Facebook land says 28-21 Eagles. Xavier, that sounds like a good score. Sir Jeffrey, give me a score and a reason.
Look, we have to go out there and have a balanced attack. This team, their backs are up against the wall. I want to see how Sirianni rallies the troops, knowing they're in a must-win game situation against a winnable game, a winnable team that is banged up, and they're not an NFL juggernaut that we played the last couple weeks. I want to see a more balanced offensive attack. I want to see a better game plan, how he can utilize his players' strengths rather than just chucking the ball 50 times. I want to see Miles Sanders used. On the defensive side of football, I want to see more aggressiveness from Jonathan Gannon. That is one thing that we kept on hearing about going into the season, that he was going to bring a more aggressive defensive attack. I want to see different blitz packages. This defense is already getting torched in man-to-man coverage and not bringing pressure. You're not getting pressure from the front four that often. I want to see a better defensive game plan, and I think this is the week, like Johnny said, where they get back on track of going up against Sam Darnold and no Christian McCaffrey. I do have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game 28-24 if they limit the penalties. That is the one thing that is the biggest key the past couple weeks that we have seen. The Eagles have stabbed themselves in the foot way too much with penalties, leading the league and crucial situations, either killing a momentum on drives or boneheaded penalties that extend drives for opposing teams. So they need to be more disciplined, and Sirianni has to be the one to lead that pack.
Okay, so before I give mine, and I heard you mention penalties, I want to go quick, 10, 30 seconds most. If I set the over-under number for Eagles penalties at 9, over-under Eagles penalties, 9 penalties today. Johnny, you taking the over or the under?
I'm going under. I think they have 5 or fewer.
5 or fewer Eagles penalties.
I'm going to go under.
You're taking the under?
I feel Sirianni is really getting these guys' heads that they need to stop the boneheaded plays.
I am going to set it. I'm going to take the over because there is such a youth along the offensive line.
Agreed.
Some of them are just untrained, and they're going to keep going with the RPO. Jalen Hurts has been holding the ball too long on the RPO. I'm going to take the over on penalties setting at 9. But for the game itself, I'm actually picking an Eagles win as well. Look, this Eagles team has got to get a win here. They have got to make improvements. They have got to run the ball. They've got to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands into some of the playmakers. And then when that starts to open up, it's got to allow Jalen Hurts to make the good read, the quick read. He's got to run with the ball. So it's got to be a more balanced attack. I do have the Eagles offensively putting up 28 and holding the Carolina Panthers to 27.
Ooh.
It is going to be an uncomfortable game. It is going to be a close game. It is going to come down to a field goal, winning or losing this game. I really do feel that these teams are about as evenly matched as the Philadelphia Eagles have played in a couple of weeks, even though the records dictate otherwise. And with that, I mean, that's going to wrap up our Eagles pregame show live from the West End. Again, for those of you tuning in from the internet, we do every single away game. When the Eagles are away from home, we are at home, at our home in Quakertown at the West End. There's all kinds of specials. There's giveaways, but you have to be here to win them. We want to shout out some of our amazing sponsors. We are sponsored by Manscaped. We are sponsored by Temp Lids. That's the 2 helmets you see here. If you're interested, you can reach out to them on the social media. We're sponsored by what are all the sponsors? You got to show me up on the screen so I remember them. Statement Games. They're a fun, free twist on fantasy sports. OddsJam.com. I don't even need the screen. Yeah. OddsJam.com. All these links are in the bio. 99 jerseys, lots of rain luxury watches. All the links are there. And again, we are here every single away game. So the next time we are here will be October 24th at about 3 o'clock for a 4 o'clock kickoff against the Raiders. But before that, the Eagles will play the Panthers today. They will play the Buccaneers at home on Thursday night in a short week, and then we'll play the Raiders. We have multiple shows live on the internet. Make sure you are tuning in, liking, subscribing. And if you're at the restaurant, make sure you are scanning those QR codes to follow us along. And as we end every show here on AAT Sports Network and the AAT Birds, we end it with a very positive and a very happy
Go Birds!